Hello, beautiful faces, and this is Honestly Biased News and Community. My name is Aaron Gregory Austin, and my beautiful co-host Patty Lewis. Hi, Patty.
Hi, Aaron.
I want to so we have so much to talk about today. We're gonna do the year in review show, which we plan to do hopefully once a year. I know, and holy crap, 2020. I was looking for the best website to go off of, and I'm stealing it from storyful.com in case anybody wants to actually review it, and I want to cite my sources. But before we do, let us get those fucking COVID numbers.
Oh, fun. So, worldwide, 103 million cases, 2,275,000 deaths. US still pulling up the lead. We have 26.6 million cases, and we're hitting 450,000 dead now.
Ooh.
But some positive numbers. The number of cases, sort of the rolling averages that they do to sort of make up for day of the week spikes and stuff. Those numbers are starting to come down.
Oh, good.
Um,
Okay.
I mean, they're still scary high. They're still really, really bad, but they're not quite as bad as they were.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're still worse than like the peak over the summer when everything had to shut down again. Still
Yeah.
worse than that. But I think there are some people who are like, well, the vaccine's coming out now, and I haven't had it yet, so I'm gonna be good now, so I can like not get it right before I get the vaccine because that would be dumb.
Yeah.
But so Oregon is up to 142,000 cases with 1,975 deaths, and just for your comparative purposes, here in Mississippi, we've got 274,000 cases and 6,018 dead.
Wow.
But I'm scheduled to get shot number 2 on the 15th, and I'm excited.
I'm so jealous right now of your life because I have heard that there's ways to get them, which I'm not gonna get crowds pushed that direction, but I'm super jealous of you right now, and I'm really excited for you too, but I'm more jealous. uh, but
The microchip hasn't misfunctioned at all. Although
great.
I saw a really funny one. It was a fake Bill Gates tweet,
Yeah.
and he was saying, "Actually, we put the chips in the MAGA hats, and that's how we've been able to track all of you guys down since the 6th."
Oh my god,
It was
awesome.
like, perfect.
I
I love that.
I was actually talking to my ex first boyfriend, uh, and he's a RN himself, and it's really funny because we actually I asked him because he got his first shot, and I said, "Are you a zombie yet?" And he's like, "No, I just have zombie-like traits." I'm like, "Those are the ones I like. That's who I'm attracted to." So perfect. Um,
I knew there was a reason we were together.
yeah, this makes total sense. You mean you're emotionally distant? Perfect. Um, but I want to highlight a couple things. First of all, I want to talk about a big shout out to Urban Hero. It's a local Portland apparel company. It's got a lot of activist brands and things like that, or shirts, excuse me, that are really great. The reason why I'm throwing this out here is because I actually had a meeting with him today, and it was really cool. Yeah, he's super, super nice. If you want to check out his stuff, there is just so many great. It's just some of his shirts just have one word on it, but it's Urban Hero Apparel PDX.com. Got great shirts, fun shirts, and it actually helps the community quite a bit because not only is it a local business, but the I hope to get him on my show in a few weeks. But basically, um, he makes statements for teachers and for activists and doctors and all this. And you have these shirts that you can wear that proudly help you. That's my charity case, I'm gonna say, for today. But you and I talked, and I want to see how your week was.
Well, I passed a really hard nephrology exam on Friday. Um, Because just quick update, I'm still in PA school. Like I'm actually actively going to classes throughout all of this shit. It's insanity. So
You
that is why I'm here drinking. This is totally water and not gin. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. So cheers.
Fair. I have a cup of hot chocolate, but I am not being sponsored by this company, but I can say it's delicious as well. Um, so I just want to throw this out here as well that supporting your local community is the most important thing we could do next to wearing a mask because a lot of them are struggling. But this is our big episode for 2020, a year in review. We're now into 2021. Holy crap, what a year. Let's
Man, 2020 was a long decade. Oh my God. I'm
yeah.
never getting those years back that I put into 2020.
Yeah, I feel like Princess Bride, where they're like, "You've lost a year of your life. How do you feel?" And I'm like, "Horrible, horrible."
Yeah. Yeah.
so, so we'll try to go through this as quickly as possible. We also want to kind of go through it a bit because there's just something really amazing about this last 20. So in January, we'll throw through a few things. The big stuff was, do you remember the Australian fire?
Like the entire continent was burning.
Yes.
All of it. Just all of it.
It exists. And I just, in my head, I was like, I thought
That had to have been, that was 5 years ago, right?
yeah, like what? So that obviously happened. They got it under control, took quite a bit of time. At the end of January, we lost Kobe Bryant. He died in a helicopter accident with his daughter. That was horrific and terrible. And please feel free to chime in if any of this catches your attention, Patty.
It's so much. It's like, oh yeah, there's that. Oh, and there was that too. And
Yeah,
there was just so much that so much of it got pushed out of my brain. It's kind of remarkable.
like there's almost this like after so Biden obviously was elected before our last show, obviously inaugurated as well. It was beautiful and amazing. I'm sure we should have talked about this a little bit too, but
You can throw that in towards the end.
yeah, let's hop it in. But great and really beautiful. But I remember just our entire country having this like
It's not that everything is fixed,
no.
but there's a chance that we can put some things right, and that feels really good rather than just sort of the like endless downward spiral that it's like there's no end in sight.
Yeah, and I want to mention too that like as I go through these, we may not get to everything obviously, but I'm going to go through it in part of it.
We don't have hours and hours and hours to go through what happened in 2020, so
Oh
it's
my
like
god. I mean, the beginning of Florida or beginning of February, excuse me, there's flooding in Virginia.
And then they acquitted that bastard on my birthday.
Oh, right. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Because yeah, impeachment numero uno. Yeah, the Senate voted on that last February. That was
crap. And it was on your birthday. Happy birthday.
I was so angry. I was so angry. It was a sign of things to come for the year. And oh boy.
Yeah. Well, so then there's the flooding and the impeachment in February. March was when we started seeing COVID get out of hand. And also
March is when I started wearing a mask full time in public. It's gonna be a year in just a blink of an eye.
wow, yeah. And honestly,
Because
like
I was still working in the ER, so I was going to be around people who were sick, so I couldn't safely go into public and expose people to me.
yeah. I think on top of that too, like, well, and I was wearing a mask too. I think maybe it's just because I was talking to you too, and I was like, oh, maybe this is really bad. like,
Turns out this is a problem.
yeah. So around March was when COVID started getting taken a little bit more seriously. Things got shut down.
Yeah, although I mean, people who are like concerned about public health or concerned in February and before, like the people in the know were worried and nothing was done. So there was a huge degree of just sort of like mental hair pulling, as long as a year ago,
Yeah.
where it's just like, why is no one doing anything?
Yeah, and I think
Remember the cruise ship that they had docked
oh,
off of, and
yeah.
Trump wouldn't let them into the country, or get off the boat because he didn't want the numbers in the country to go up, because
Yeah.
but also like they had medical personnel going on and off the boat, and it just started community spread in the area, and it's just like, oh my god, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, and if you don't remember the conversation too, Trump around January had said that none of this was happening, and or none of it was happening, but in closed doors, he was actually saying this is a really big deal. This is a big problem. But you telling the public, no big deal, it's fine. And his strategy, which was pretty much no strategy, was to have herd immunity, and not vaccine herd immunity, but actually herd immunity where people just kept um, getting sick,
where
dying, and
where basically everyone gets it, so then no one is susceptible anymore, which would have resulted in millions of deaths, just by the way.
that was March. Like in March. Oh, and not to mention, of course, my favorite place in the world, Disneyland. For the first time, I think they've only been closed twice up until this point ever, and they had to get shut down in March. They closed because COVID was getting so out of hand. I actually went into February, so 2.5 weeks later, it shut down. And I normally go in March, and I'm like, oh my god, thank you so much. My streak is intact.
The one thing that happened to you in 2020 that we can say was definitely a good thing.
Yes, like I'm just glad Rise of the
That one.
Resistance. Yeah, that was Rise of the Resistance was there. I wanted to go to it. I was having a rough beginning of the year. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. In April, there were protests for anti-masks, and there is on specifically on April 19th, there was I don't know if anyone remembers this, but there was like doctors standing in front of anti-maskers with masks on, blocking their protests. And
They were such badasses. They were amazing.
they were badasses. And the defiance of these doctors. And I was like, get them.
Just having none of your shit. Well, and
Yeah.
that's when it started getting bad in New York, and I was an EMT in New York, and so the hospitals that they're showing on the news are hospitals that I went to frequently, and
Wow.
it was mind-boggling to be like, oh yeah, that was the place that had the great room for the EMTs, that they always had sandwiches there for us, and like, I loved going to that hospital, and it's just like completely overrun, and all of the healthcare staff are about to have just complete meltdowns due to overwork and mental stress.
Yeah. Well, and that's it's crazy that people to this day are still anti-maskers. Like I remember it actually kind of preludes in May, because in May what happened was that it was the start of people walking into places like Costco and refusing to wear masks and getting kicked out. And even down there, that also was the same month that George Floyd, if I'm not wrong, was either murdered or they had the protest started. I believe he was murdered in May, which I apologize, I didn't get the date down. That's in May was also when a protester or a driver ran down a bunch of protesters, killing what, two of them, I think, if I wasn't wrong. Unbelievable crap, unbelievable, and that started these huge protests where no longer were these protests, they became these riots and looting for the first 2 weeks, and then after that they became peaceful. By that time, there was now a presence that Black Lives Matter was now a complete riot, and it wasn't. It was a complete protest. In fact, on June 8th was when the big protest happened, and the Black Lives Matter went from being violent to completely peaceful. And that's when police officers stepped up and started attacking the protesters.
Well, and yeah, it's incredible to me that they stand up and they voice the fact that they are angry over being killed for no reason,
Mm-hmm.
and that we've got to crack down on. But you want to endanger people's lives because you were told to wear a fucking mask? Oh, that's fine. We'll let you just keep
Yeah.
harassing people, threatening people. That being violent because you don't want to wear a mask is fine. But you break a couple windows because you're tired of people getting killed, and that's the real problem. We've got
Yeah.
to save those windows.
Right. And I remember that too, because like there's a lot which we'll get further down, things getting worse. Um, but there's a very clear difference between the violence that happened with Black Lives Matter and the violence that happened at the Capitol riot. Because Black Lives Matter, yeah, people were breaking windows and it was violent, but there
But
was something very
overall,
different.
it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
And there were a couple people, here and there who would get violent.
Mhm.
If anything, it was more often when you would have the right wing protesters and you would have Antifa counter protesters there to, not let their voices go unchallenged.
There,
That was
yeah, there was
most
actually
often.
like I work in the city of Portland, and I can tell you, I remember seeing like piles of bricks, like that. There was some setup here. There was some, I don't know who it was. I'm not going to point. I was going to about say Republican, but I can't say that because I don't factually know.
Not all Republicans. I mean, they support it. They won't speak out against it, but it's not them.
It's not that. But the fact that they had like bricks just sitting around, there's these moments in these protests that were really amazing. For example, I think there was one video I saw where there was a policeman who was actually getting overrun by a bunch of protesters, and one protester literally grabbed them, put him over his shoulder, and took him to police, like just to get him away. Like the amount of nobility these people were doing in the protest is mind blowing to me. And I know I'm not going to have everyone's view. Obviously, I'm a progressive show. I believe Black Lives Matter do matter. Hence the end of my show says Black Lives Matter do matter. But what's really mind blowing of it all was the fact that to this day, you still have people who compare the Capitol riots to Black Lives Matter in terms of, and it's not even close.
Well, in 9 months of protesting against police violence, 0 police were killed.
Mhm.
In 1 day of right-wing insurrection at the Capitol, a cop was bludgeoned to death.
Two have died now.
Oh, was there a second one?
There's now 2. Yeah. And I agree with you. Yeah. It's unbelievable. So as those protests were happening, which they were happening for a very long time, not to mention the people being unmasked, I'm trying not to talk too much about every freaking thing Trump did because honestly, I think we're overwhelmed from it all. But let's just say he was just constantly fucking up.
It was just, he was either actively fucking up the country or he was golfing.
Yeah, or gaslighting people constantly. Like I dated somebody for a very long time, and I can tell you I was constantly gaslighted by them, and I will never ever understand why people do that to each other. But I can say it was very recognizable with Trump, and it's just yeah. So as we go through this, though, July was really a crazy month. I'm going to kind of skip to that because most of it was June was more of the protests and when they started. July was California fires, which started, and as well as a hurricane in Texas, Hurricane Hannah, was happening.
Yeah, we had more hurricanes make landfall in the continental U.S. than in any other year. It was really bad. I have classmates whose family like lost homes.
Wow.
Like weather is crazy down here, people. It is crazy.
Yeah, well, and it's crazy because I can go through. I don't want to like skip what August and September did, but honestly, most of it was there's a Hennessy fire. There was Oregon wildfire here in Oregon. They were
Yeah,
really
all of
out of
Oregon was
control.
on file.
Yeah, California.
My parents, I don't know if you were also in one of the like be prepared to leave your home areas, but my parents were.
Yeah. We weren't told that. I know I live a little. I was close enough to be nervous, far away enough not to have to leave. But I
Yeah,
can
well, my
definitely.
parents didn't have to leave, but they were definitely in the area that was like, have shit packed. Like this could go that way.
Yeah. Scary. So then after we're now into October, and these are, again, there's so much that went on this year. Lots of people died during this year, which I'll kind of go over toward the end. But October was interesting because that's around the time that COVID hit the White House. Trump was tested positive. He was sent to a hospital, got all the best treatments.
He got treatments that are not actually FDA approved yet in people. The convalescent serum and stuff like that, that's not available to anyone else. That's not an option. He got things that no one else can have. And I'm still a little bitter.
Yeah, I'm very bitter about it too, actually.
Although my personal bet the whole time I was saying before he tested positive, you wait, he will get it and he will be asymptomatic just as a final fuck you from 2020. That was kind of where I thought that was going to go. So, at least he got a little sick.
I mean, let's be honest, like what he did afterward, because he went to a rally right after and
infected a bunch of people.
Yeah. He wasn't even like out of incubation period or anything at that point.
Yeah, he just made his doctor say he's fine and he left.
Yeah, which to me is just so freaking scary that somebody would do that. So look, I can tell you, I was not a huge fan of Biden when he ran. I wanted Bernie Sanders to win, and then Warren. Those were my people. After that, it was like, I don't want anyone else to win. But there's a lot of, I feel better already. And
it's such a relief.
It's so nice. Yeah. And of course we'll get to that, but, so there is a lot of clashing, a lot of fighting, basically. Finally in December, was big news. November, we'll go there.
Election,
Biden won. We went through the fraud, as Trump called it. It was not fraud. Everything was researched and tested. He still said they were fraud. So then Trump...
Well, he still contested 2016 where he won because he had to say that 3 million people voted illegally in California because he totally won the popular vote too. Like, he's the worst sore loser in the entire...
He really is. And I know that I'm not going to be able to go through everyone who died this year too, just to throw this out, but we'll get to there. But I will say, November, Biden officially got all the electorals he needed, also the popular vote. Then Trump still fought it until January 5th, 2021. After that, obviously, 2021, we know what happened there. But I want to go through some of the celebrities that made an impact on my life. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, big fan.
That broke my heart.
Oh, died right before the election. Alex Trebek. God, I mean, what a fighter, what a guy. Like David Prowse, hopefully I didn't say his name wrong. I gotta give him a mention because he was the original Darth Vader. He didn't play the voice, obviously, but he unfortunately did die because from there. So,
and I would also like to give a little remembrance to the 400,000 people who died of COVID last year, because it was 400,000 people and they did not all need to die.
Patty, you're just a better host than I am. I'm so glad you're my co-host. Don't ever leave me, because someone's going to comment that I didn't.
Where did your sound go?
I apologize.
Okay, I can hear you again.
There we go. As everyone knows, technical difficulties happen every once in a while, and I was the
story of our lives.
Yep. And I was the cause of this technical difficulty. I unplugged my mic, so I apologize, everyone. Welcome to episode 2.
Someday we'll get the video stuff down.
I know we will. And we are not redoing this one. We're going to just roll with it.
Of course we are, because that's how we operate.
Right. I do want to make also a shout out to Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther. Not only an amazing person off screen, but that man worked his butt off until he died, which was pretty incredible. Those are the big ones. Kirk Douglas also died too. Sorry, I forgot to mention him. And also Naya Rivera, who was on Glee for 6 seasons. She actually was saving her son and ended up dying. Sean Connery died in 2020. Also, the Eddie Van Halen died. I feel like I'm just going to stop because it just keeps getting worse. But, one more. Obviously, Regis Philbin is my last person because original host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and also Regis and Kelly and Regis and Kathy Lee. An amazing, amazing host. So that is my biggest year in review. But to end it on a positive note,
we have a positive note for 2020.
I do. One, Biden got elected, and it's not really a 2020, but let's just say 2021. And let's talk about Biden a little bit because that might help us with our 2021 positivity.
Sure, we'll get there someday.
Yeah. Well, I will say in the first couple days, Biden has not only reversed, many of Trump's policies, executive orders, things that affected the environment, LGBTQ plus. Also, immigration. He's reversed a lot of really important things that affect more than just white people. So I'm really glad.
What?
I know.
What? We're taking care of all people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's made some good strides so far. It'll be interesting to see how things go. I'm blanking on the term for it, but sort of the congressional shenanigans that they can pull for passing COVID relief. Oh, reconciliation. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Budget reconciliation. They can do 2 of those within the next year. Mm-hmm. And so once they don't have that option, it'll be interesting to see what the Democratic Congress is actually willing to pull and how much they're willing to let McConnell obstruct things.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're willing to pull out the big guns and say, you can come with us, or we'll just leave you behind and we'll pass things without you.
I mean, right. And this is where I'm at is one, Biden needs to do the $2,000 stimulus checks, not the $1,400. He needs to do the $2,000. And the reason why is because he did say specifically 2,000. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, we already got the 600, so we only need the 1,400. First of all, you need more than 1,400. You need more than 2,000. And when Biden said if Georgia turns blue and the 2 congressmen become blue, he would give the 2,000. I am livid when I hear people compromise on just 1,400. There are people out there who can't pay their rent, their food.
Well, I think we should have multiple $2,000 checks. I think.
Preach.
Yeah, I mean, I think that should be a recurring thing until a reasonable population can get vaccinated.
Agreed.
And that's going to take months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
Additionally, it's a stimulus. So when you say like, but all the businesses, save the businesses, well, you give all that money to people, like they're going to spend that.
Yeah, a good portion's going to spend it. A lot of people will save it and then buy bigger things, a car, a house, things like that they can, actually do. I'm actually 100% with you, and I'm super frustrated that Biden went back saying that he's only going to do the 1,400, or he's like, well, I said 1,400. It's like, no, we got receipts. We have tweets. We have videos. We have things you told us. 2,000, at least give us freaking 2,000,
I know the progressives are going to keep pushing for recurrent payments. So hopefully that will make some headway.
Get him, Bernie. Get him. Get him, AOC. We gonna get him. One more thing I want to say. First of all, we are almost at a couple months of a year doing this together as my first host. So I want you to know that in March, you are going to be my community hero of the month. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do our hottest topics. The entire show will be about hottest topics. And then we're going to do your hero segment, which will be obviously about kind of where you grew up and what direction you're coming from and whatnot. Yeah, it's going to be great. You're welcome. But I want to say 2021 has the second great thing that has happened is having you as a co-host. And I'm so grateful. So, yeah. But I have some incredibly amazing news. I don't know if you've seen the TV show Sing on Netflix. You got to watch it because there's a guy here who he won it. And basically what they are is amateur karaoke singers. And it's kind of set up like The Weakest Link where you slowly get rid of people until it gets down to the end. But he won, and I think he won like $40,000 or something. I don't know. It was quite a bit of money. Yeah. And he's just an all-around guy, and I got him to get on my show. So that's like
nice work.
Yeah. So so he's gonna be up next, but I just want to thank you, Patty, and I will see you in a few weeks, of course. But we will be right back.
Hello to all you shiny happy people. This is Randy Slovacek of The Randy Report, and you're listening to GAYBC News.
Okay, and we are back. Thank you so much, Patty. You are an amazing co-host. I am so crazy about how good you are with me. I tend to throw everything in the air when you ground me. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. But we have an amazing hero of the month. This is Frankie Cena. Hopefully I said that right because I destroy every last name. It's my goal. How are you today?
I'm great. Yeah, thank you for having me. And, hero is a very interesting word, and I appreciate the distinction. It's very, very kind. So yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I think the whole reason I started this segment is because there are people in this world that just only see LGBTQA++ as either completely extreme or perverts or anything like that. And so my hero of the month is really just to catch everyday people, whether it goes from one side of the spectrum all the way up to some fame and things like that. I want people to see that we are here, kind of like Harvey Milk had said at one point, if everyone came out, we would win. And so that's kind of something that I started with this show. But I really want to get to know you because I'm not going to lie. I'm a fanboy a little bit because I'm like, I saw the Netflix show Sing On.
Yeah.
And I was bored one day and just started watching it. And I watched the entire season all there. And then I saw you and I'm like, oh my God, there's a homo and I love it. I'm so happy. And you seem like so nice and kind on the show, but we're going to talk about it later because I want to talk about you specifically.
Cool.
First of all, tell me, you're obviously from Canada, which is like my favorite country in the world. I want to secretly believe I'm from Canada, but I was born in Boise, Idaho. But I'm so close though. I could have.
Yeah.
So tell me like where you were born. What was it like growing up in Canada?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Vancouver, which is all the way west above, I guess, Seattle, Washington, if we're talking in American geography. I think Canada is a great place. I think Vancouver is a great place to be. It's a very accepting place and very accepting of the LGBTQ community. So it was definitely a safe and comfortable space to come out in. I just made the decision not to do so until, much later in life. So I'm 29 now, and I came out, I think 3 years ago, like today, or 3 years ago yesterday. Like we're on the anniversary. We're near it. And yeah, but now I live in Toronto, which is Eastern Canada, near Niagara Falls.
Wow, I've been to Vancouver. I had a friend of mine before marriage equality was passed in America. I
Mm,
had one of my close friends get married in Canada because they just more. It was more of obviously it wasn't legal in America, but it was
yeah.
just kind of that. A lot of people in America would do that. They go to other countries, get married, and so on and so on.
Yes.
So you came out of the closet only 3 years ago.
Hmm.
What changed? What made that your decision? Like, okay, this is when it's time.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated question. I came out as pansexual or bisexual. I was with a girl for 3 years before I came out. We lived together. We were on the path to getting married. So I think it's a mixture of probably fear and just, thinking, having this just false belief that coming out would have been a bad thing or would have harmed my career as a business person or my career as a TV host, which in hindsight is just, it's crazy to think that I thought that way back then. But that's really what I thought. So fear for sure is a component. And then I guess beyond fear, also just like not knowing, being again, the terms are all there. There's many terms, but being not 100% gay or being not being somewhere on the spectrum of things, I think that also makes it difficult because I didn't think I was lying to myself. I didn't think I was lying to my partner at the time. But I also knew that I had a new partner and it was a guy, and then I wanted to be able to obviously be with him in public and things like that. So it was a mixture of things, but yeah, I'm obviously very glad that I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think there's a lot of growth with the gay community that still, I try to say we're all still teenagers, so to speak, in the evolution of things because
Yeah.
yeah, you got bisexuality and things like that where the gays are like, oh my gosh, you've touched a vagina. Oh my gosh. Like it's like, yeah, that's actually okay. Cause like if you go back like 10, 15 years before you came out, you were getting judged. So settle down. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
fine.
Totally, totally. There's a lot, of course, a lot more to do and to grow and to learn and all that.
Yeah. And you know what? I am, obviously I learned a little bit from the Netflix show and that you've done, several different things, but it seems like I'm gonna say the wrong word and judge me all you want. Philanthropy is something that you have pursued in the past.
Yeah.
Are you still doing it now? Or I don't want to like timeline
Yeah,
it.
it's another great question. I mean, again, the word hero I think is a funny word, but when I was, I think 17 or 16, I was given the city hero award. So I'm from a small city. It's called Burnaby, and at the time it was for my volunteer work and just giving back to the community. In high school, I did a lot of volunteer work, and then continued that in university. And then I created a business. So now I try more to give back through my business. So I wouldn't call it charity or volunteer work, but I would say that by allowing to sponsor kids to attend my speech and debate school and by sponsoring events and just being there in that way for young people, I feel like I'm still keeping it up. And again, in a very different way. But yeah, I would like to say that I'm still giving back to the community even now.
Yeah. You have your own Wikipedia page. Yes, for me. Because it makes my research so much easier.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like scrounging for like research on somebody, and I'm like, okay, so you're a teacher, and but in 2016, you were a coach for the Danish national debate team. So
Yes.
that's this foundation you're talking about, right?
Sort of, yeah. So that
Okay.
was part of it. So I own a speech and debate school called Fostering Debate Talent Academy. We teach K to 12 students, mostly in Vancouver and Canada, but also worldwide. So Denmark, the USA, Australia, Abu Dhabi, like it goes on and on. So yeah, so that's the organization that I'm talking about.
So let's go back to that, which is really fantastic. Let's kind of go back to when you came out of the closet. You met somebody. He's adorable.
Yes.
And you came out 3 years ago. So tell me how you met and tell me like kind of what you know, I can tell you this. I think that somebody you date, someone who's a partner, they should enhance your life. They should bring out the best in you. And
Totally.
whenever I hear somebody say, I came out and I really want to be part of my partner, I'm like, that person enhanced you. They brought the best out of you. That's such a good thing. So tell me about
Totally.
him.
Yeah, I mean, we met on one of the apps. So, you know, I guess I before that I had never used a dating app or any type of app for dating. So I was very, very new to it at the time, but I guess they work. They can work. I think someone told me this once that I really thought it was like wise advice. The apps or online dating or in-person dating or whatever type of dating, you're going to get out of it what you put into it, and you're going to get out of it what you want. So if you only want hookups, then you're only going to get hookups. And if you want, you know, to find love, then you're going to find love. So I thought that was very, very good advice. But yeah, we met on the apps, and yeah, I mean, do I want to say love at first sight? I don't know, but it was definitely, I pretty much knew right away that I wanted to be with this person. So
Yeah.
3 years and we're still together.
Oh, that's amazing. You know, that it's really funny you say that too, because like I started hanging out with somebody recently, and like it's that instant reaction. But like there's two reactions that I think the gays get confused. There's a lust reaction, and there's like a wow, I get you reaction. And the lust one we get a lot. Like we're like, oh, you're pretty. But then you go over to the other side, and it's like, oh, like I know when I met, you know, this guy, it was like, wow, you get me way too well. Like you start, you know, looking for cameras in your house kind of thing. Like, what are you doing? How do you know me so well? So it's really good to hear that. And it's really fantastic, because I think the world could use a few more healthy gay relationships in the world. Like,
yeah, fair enough. I know it's a very polarizing group of people, and I know that there's a lot of stereotypes, there's a lot of truth in the stereotypes, but yeah, we are in a happy, you know, monogamous, closed relationship, and it's going very well.
woo-wee. You are very brave in this world. I live in Oregon, and it's a very liberal city. Portland is very liberal. When I met this guy, he was from Alabama, and he came in and he was like, I was joking. I was like, I think I'm the only monogamous person in Portland. He goes, no, but I mean, there's like a couple more.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I think that's like the world, the country. So tell me about what the hell is Mr. World? I don't know what that is, but tell me, like, because you had a lot, I mean, according to what I saw, you were in, like, you either were part of it, or you helped organize it in some way, or have some part in it. Tell me about this, because you've been in it a few times.
Yeah. So, okay, so this can be a very long story. I'll give the sort of short version, but the listeners are probably familiar with, you know, Miss Universe or Miss World. These are the largest beauty pageants, and America is obviously one of the biggest pageant countries in the world. So there's basically the equivalent for men. So the Miss World organization holds a female pageant every year, and they hold a male pageant every other year. So in 2012, I was named Mr. Canada. I then got to go and compete at Mr. World. At Mr. World, I was with 50, you know, very attractive, tall, fit men, and I was competing against them. I was the shortest competitor ever in an international male beauty pageant. So I definitely stood out from day one. Yeah. I won the talent contest as a singer. That kind of put me on the map. I'm the only Canadian to ever make the top 10 in the history of the competition. And then they hired me to be their host for the next 5 years. So wow. Yeah, it was the experience of a lifetime for sure.
That is amazing. That really is. So I want to get a little dark here, okay. Partially because just from my country. Let's talk about Trump, because this is kind of like, this guy has been, first of all, 2016, I want everyone in the world to know, including Canadians, we did an oopsie, and it wasn't on purpose. Like, we did, like, everyone was surprised. Like, I personally am a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. When he lost, I was really frustrated about that, but I kind of licked my wounds by the time the end of it happened. And then Hillary Clinton, she was not an ideal candidate. Republicans do not like her, and to put her up as a Democratic person, and they wanted both sides. It was like, I just kind of saw Trump winning, even though everyone was saying the polls are showing he's going to win. Da, da, da. And I just kept telling my friends, I don't know. She's just too polarizing. I know she's done some good in our country. So I have a couple questions. First of all, I mean, is it really true? Like, Canadians were kind of looking down and being like, everything okay down there? Like,
yeah, it is definitely true. I would say that the American election, waiting for the result, like, I've never had American politics on my TV 24/7 before in my entire life, but it really just was. We had literally the news channel stayed on 24/7 from the moment the election and the voting began till the moment it was called. That was the first experience for us. And I think absolutely what you're saying is Canadians were watching with like fear and excitement and curiosity and just every single emotion. But as someone who wants to live in the US, I was watching also with a different type of perspective because I knew that the result of this election could really determine what the next 4 years of my life look like. So yeah.
Yeah, wow, yeah. I have a political contributor. His name is Liam. He's really, really great at, because he's from the UK, and he said something right before the election too. And I said, what would you tell people, the 2020 election, excuse me, not this, and he said, I said, what would you say to people, Americans specifically, that are voting and are trying to decide between Trump and Biden? And he said, it's not about you. And it's like, wow. Like, sometimes us Americans, it's like we're hidden in our little houses, not thinking that like we actually do impact the world.
Yeah.
We are a major country that does, economic impacts. Our presidents impact things. Like, clearly after 4 years, we saw that. Yeah, it was changing. Sorry, if you have more to say on that, please.
No. I mean, I'm not a political person. I'm not an apolitical person. Like, I'm pretty open. I look at, I keep up to date. I follow it. I look at how much it's going to affect me. And again, I'm happy with the result, obviously. And I think it looks, my future looks bright to be able to go to the US, hopefully, within the next year or two now because of this. So, once COVID ends, then we'll see.
Yes, come to Portland. We will feed you. So
I've been to Oregon. It's
Oregon's amazing.
Yeah,
but I'm also an Oregonian. All we love to do is talk about Oregon. So, we were. I mean, you could almost hear the entire country in 2020 get this huge sigh of relief. Like, thank God, because even in 2016, Trump had said, "Oh, none of the numbers are right," even though he won. And then he's like, "They're not right again." But the worst part about it was he made it so he created this giant group of people who now believe everything he says, and it's a really scary thing. Okay, so that's my little political like couple of questions I wanted to throw your way. I was like, you're from Canada, tell me about, like, are you guys just looking down like, can you guys just please vote for Biden? Like,
totally, 100%.
And of course I was still for Bernie, but like this time around, I obviously when he fell on his sword, basically I was like, okay, I need to like get behind him by getting behind Biden, and
yes.
happy with the result. Okay, we got to talk about Sing On, and I want to talk about Family Feud as well.
Okay, wow.
Okay, so, and we'll get through it, I promise. Okay, so Sing On. So, how did you get there? Holy crap, because I think the other guy was bi, so it was like you two at the end.
Yes.
And, I wanted you to win the whole time, secret. I'm like, come on. But then he kept like going, and it was going back and forth. I'm like, oh, he's not bad. Oh. So, okay, tell me everything about it. Tell me your experience, how you got there. I'm shutting up.
I mean, it was a total dream come true. I mean, Netflix, a game show, Titus Burgess. Like, it was just everything that I've ever wanted to happen. So I was so over the moon when it finally did happen. I was in the UK at the time, and they were looking for singers in the UK with American or Canadian accents, which I thought was obviously really weird. I was in the UK because of Miss World and a few other gigs that I've done there. So I'm like, okay, well, clearly they're casting a show and they need North Americans. They don't want, it's not a British show. So I end up, auditioning and applying and whatever. And then it's months of waiting, and it's callbacks, and it's all these different steps. It's such an agonizing process. You don't know it's Netflix. You don't know it's Titus. You don't know it's called Sing On. You don't know what it's about. You don't know what you're being judged on. You really know nothing. You just know that it's a big TV show. So about a week before, I kind of found out, well, okay, it's with Netflix. Okay, that's really good. Okay, you can win $50,000. Okay, that's really good. So it's just crazy. And then they fly us out, 48 cast members, and I was the only Canadian. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. And everyone else, was American. They were from Nashville and LA and Texas and Georgia. And that's the Chicago, maybe New York. Those are the cities that I remember. And it was great. I got to sing, but I also got to vote people out and use strategy. And as a big game show fan, that was just really, really fun.
Okay, so your strategy, because I didn't see you were doing strategic. Some of these people were like, I just didn't like how they looked. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was your show, but there's this woman on it that just grinded my gears. But it was mostly because she was like mean sassy, and like I'm like, I don't even like gay mean sassy. Like,
yeah.
On the F down. It's not. And but your strategy, it seemed like, were you really trying to get down to that one guy in you?
Was I trying to get down to the one guy in me? I'm not necessarily.
Okay.
First of all, I just wanted to come across really friendly and neutral and kind and lovable. That was the first part of my strategy. Secondly was just to, make friends with everyone the day of rehearsals. We really only got to meet each other for 2 days, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone thought I was like their best friend, because you don't want to eliminate your best friend from the competition. And then not come across too cocky or strong, because obviously you want to get rid of like the strongest person. So I knew I couldn't beat Elise. Elise was the country singer, a beautiful, beautiful girl. We're still friends, which is great. I knew I couldn't beat her, so I knew that she had to go somewhere along the lines. But other than that, I felt that, if it was John or say Brianna, that I could kind of handle myself.
And were you sure, like, once you got rid of Elise, I think, did you know, like, okay, like, I have a really good chance at this point?
Yeah, that was the turning point for me. Like, round one, you have no idea. Like, you could be out. Like, I have no idea who people are going to vote for. You're just praying at that point. I received 0 votes in the first round and 0 votes in the second round. So again, my strategy clearly worked, but you don't know what's going to happen at the start. It wasn't until once Elise got eliminated, that was when I knew that I could see the finish line. I didn't think that I had it in the bag, but I knew that I could, like, I could be the winner of Sing On.
And then the 2 songs that were left, you chose, didn't you chose the opposite one of what? Yeah, because you were like, I can't remember now which 2 songs they were. I should have rewatched your episode, damn it.
No, it's okay. I can tell you. It was Bang Bang, Bang Bang by Ariana Grande and Summer of '69 by Bryan Adams. And the whole day, everyone was talking about how much they like hate Bang Bang and love Summer of '69. So like, I was like, why are you saying this? Like, it's not very smart. So John, I think John's a great singer, and I really felt that he could sing Bryan Adams. So I knew I had to do the Ariana Grande, even though I can't sing it very well. I just thought like maybe he would sing it worse. So that was the strategy.
He did, wasn't it? And it was barely like right there, because you both were going back. That was my last question. Then we go on a quick break. Is did the and then I lose it. So were you like singing slightly off a little bit, just to kind of act like you were like a middle ground person? Or were you like flat out like, no, I'm going to go perfectly? Like, is that a strategy as well?
I mean, I was trying my best. It's so hard because when you watch the show, you can see what notes we're hitting and what notes we're not hitting. When you're
Yeah.
on the show, you can't see that. So
Yeah.
like, I really did think that I was doing better than I was. I don't want to get too technical, but like vibrato is when a person's voice shakes while they sing, and like my voice has a lot of vibrato, which is bad for the game because it takes it as like not hitting the notes. So I didn't know that at all during the game. So it kind of worked in my favor in some ways, but I mean, it also almost made me lose. Like it's just interesting.
Yeah. Well, I have a karaoke game that does that. And that's why
Yes.
like, I saw like when people did the vibrate or vibrato, I was like looking and I was like, oh, stop doing that. That's not going to help you. I have this game. Don't do it.
Exactly. Yes.
We got to take a quick break, and then we only have like one quick I have two quick questions, and then I'll let you go. I know I dried up. We'll be right back.
It's okay.
Cool.
Missed an episode of GAYBC News? Now you can download our mobile app for Android from the Google Play Store. GAYBC News Radio brings you the latest in news, politics, entertainment, and stories from the community in the USA and around the world. Head over to the Google Play Store and download the GAYBC News mobile app today.
All right, we are back with Frankie Cena. Yes, okay. And just in case you didn't know, he was the winner on the Netflix TV show Sing On. He was also in Canadian Idol, which I looked up. And he also participated in Mr. World, hosting it as well as being part of it and winning it as the shortest winner. Hey, I'm like 5'8", so like, go short, people. So the last time I've been chasing you for a minute, being like, hey, you need to come on my show. So I want to talk about the last thing I saw recently on your Instagram, which is, I think your partner was on Family Feud, not you, right?
Well, it's a complicated story, which I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so Family Feud, obviously one of the biggest game shows in America, decided to come out to Canada. So our national network kind of took on the franchise. So my family was on season 1. I was cast as the captain of my team, obviously, because I love game shows, and I think I was really great for it. But I was contractually obligated to Netflix to not appear on any other shows. So I was actually told that I could not be on the team anymore. So I unfortunately had to make my mom the captain and then pull in my grandma to join the family.
Oh, damn Netflix.
I know. It was heartbreaking, but CBC still included me. I'm not sure if you saw the whole episode, but I got to go up on stage, and Family Feud has never done that before. That you never like bring someone up from the audience. Like it was a whole like twist like to the episode. So I mean, I was so thankful to CBC to have me involved, but sadly my family lost. So.
Oh, I didn't see the whole episode, but I did see you. So and I saw you jump up on stage, and I was like, that's pretty amazing. I love Family Feud. I love the celebrity Family Feud because I feel like I'm connected more. I'm like, I don't know. I don't care who the Smiths are. And I think on Sing On too, you won like 43,000. Was that right? Something like that.
I mean, once it converts to Canadian, it's even more. So it was something over 40,000 US, which is just a dream, like such an amazing.
Can I ask what you did with it, or at least like generally what you did with it? Like, I bought myself a Lambo.
If it wasn't for COVID, I was going to take my family on like a big, everyone vacation. That was what my original plan was. Obviously, COVID changed that quite rapidly. I ended up throwing a really big gathering. I ended up throwing a socially distant gathering for the premiere. The
That's
rules
very
were a
smart.
bit different. The rules were a bit different in September, obviously, than they are today. So we did a gathering, everyone got to drink and be merry, and that was that. And then other than that, Dan and I moved to Toronto right after I got the prize money. So it was really like just all very, I really believe in, and I believe in God, I believe in higher powers, I believe in meant to be. So the fact that I got the prize money like right before I was supposed to come to Toronto, it's basically just set up our life here, paid bills, and it's unfortunately not fun stuff, but it's important stuff. And it's allowing me to pursue entertainment full time here in Toronto, which is the entertainment capital of Canada.
Yeah. Well, you should know like that right there is like fun money. Like the fact that you can like make your dreams come true is a big thing.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I have a background in acting. I started my own independent film company. I work full time still. I do this show. I model. I do a million other things. And I can tell you, the one thing that'd be great is get an extra 50 grand to just pursue it.
No,
so,
I imagine.
Yeah. So a lot of my heroes, it's crazy. I asked this question to all of my heroes, and not one of them have given me the same answer. All in different variations. Yeah. So if you were, the story of where this question comes from is that, when I was younger, my family was very unsupportive of LGBTQ. There was rainbows and they'd be like scary. So when I was a kid, I secretly watched like Will and Grace and Queer as Folk and I was like, whoa, I don't know why this is really hot, but I'm not supposed to like this. This is awesome. Like that is something that like really helped me. And Will and Grace specifically was so important because it in some way normalized what everyone else around me was saying was extreme. And I was like, wait, these people are just normal. If you were a 13-year-old listening to this show right now and your family wasn't super supportive, maybe you're living in a very conservative community, what would you tell that 13-year-old?
Yeah, I think this is obviously such a hard question, and I wish I could give a fairy tale, rainbow, unicorn answer, but I always, I'm a practical person, I'm a business person, I have to be honest. And the first thing I would say is you have to do what's going to keep you safe and healthy and protected. And as much as I want to say, go and yell and be gay and scream out the rooftop, if that's going to mean that you're getting kicked out of your house and beaten and neglected and excluded, then I wouldn't recommend that, So I want people to be proud of who they are, but I want them to be safe first. So I would say I have met people that have waited until, they were 18 to maybe make the move out of your house, move out of your city, go to a more accepting area, country, something like that. And beyond that, if you are safe and if you are in a loving, supportive space, and often you're in a more supporting space than you might realize, then of course I would say speak your truth as soon as you feel comfortable.
I love it. That's so great. And again, another different answer. Like they're not good. They're not all the same, but I have had people say something similar, but it's a very different. And hey, you're still on there. You ain't following the crowds.
Great.
So so I do this game with everybody, but I'm gonna do better ones now that I can do shows. Like I can be like cards. I can't do this anymore. So I have a rapid questions. There's 3 of them. It's just off the top of your head. I can tell you how many freaking people. I just say just go through it really quick. It's only 3.
Okay.
All right. Do you cook?
Wait, what?
Do you cook?
No.
What's your favorite food?
I love bread.
Wait, does Dan cook?
Dan is an amazing cook.
Oh, so
Dan just made us jambalaya, and it was so good.
Tell him to FedEx it. Anyway, what's your favorite food?
Bread, carbs, bagels, croissants, but just like hot, fresh bread.
Where in the world do you find peace?
Oh gosh, I find peace. I don't really like peace. I like being busy, and I've recently been told that I like stress, so I don't know.
Like nowhere.
Hey, how about watching reality TV. But even that's stressful, but that's my piece.
But it could give you your sense of peace, you know?
Yeah, it's my sense of peace.
Yeah. You could have said like Dan or something. Come on. No, you're
No,
like,
that's not.
he's like, he stresses me out too.
That's not usually peaceful. Sorry.
Which is exactly how you want it. I want, first of all, you're amazing. I know it's crazy to get an Instagram message and to be like, hi, I have a show.
It's all good. You got to be bold. Bold pays off.
I mean, I am so grateful for you. I think that, like, you know, there's something in this world that we really have to do, and that's really to take the LGBT community and continue to keep uplifting it, to keep exposing the positives about it, because marriage equality happened in America because we started saying we're just regular people. And I think you're a great example. And I like reading more about you and everything. I'm like, wow, I kind of like hit an even cooler person than I thought. And, you know, I tell my friend Mark, who is the owner of Beverly Hills Magazine and BHL Media, he's great. And I tell him, he's like, oh, you're so nice. And I'm like, well, I don't lie. So don't think I'm not going to lie about shit. But you really are a fantastic person. And I'm so grateful you gave me the chance. So tell me, if people want to get to know you even more,
yes.
Obviously Sing On Netflix is kind of more of a fun way of catching you. But where can people maybe help out in terms of the philanthropy you're doing, the hosting? Tell me where we can see more of you.
Yeah, I recently got a link tree, which I just learned what that was, but it's really a great way to sort of put all of your links into one place. So if you link tree me, that's at Frankie Cena. Everything is there. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Frankie Cena, FrankiEcena. I'm very Googleable. There's a lot to look for. I've done a lot of random things. I won a car on The Price is Right.
I didn't know you were on The Price is Right too.
Yeah, so there's a lot like. That's why, you know, off air, Aaron asked me, what do you want to talk about? And I always say, whatever you want to talk about, because I've been so blessed to do a lot of really cool things in my life. And I love talking about all of them. And I never know what piques people's interest. Price is Right, winning a car, that's often on the top of people's list for some reason. They just love it. But you missed it, but that's okay. We talked about Sing On. So, you know, there's so much. And I do these because I love talking about myself. So
that's
I
great.
appreciate that.
I love talking, and I love this behind me with my name.
Yes.
So, and honestly, like I will tell you too, you practice gratitude. And I think that's a very important quality to have. You're doing amazing things. And just so people need to look you up, last name is Cena, in case you try to do Chena or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
But you are amazing. So this is a mature, I didn't tell this to you before the end, but I do hashtags at the end to say goodbye to my show. So I'm going to do my hashtags with you. And obviously, thank you so much. Everyone, hashtag not me, us, hashtag our revolution, hashtags Black Lives Matter. Wear your fucking mask. And please, for the love of God, stay home. Frankie, thank you. You are amazing. You have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I am so grateful that you came on my show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Everyone have a great week.